Very low pressure at the end of natural gas pipe. In our new house, I found a 1-2-inch natural gas copper pipe that runs all the way from the basement to the second floor, into a small room that used to be a kitchen years ago. The line is around 80 feet and runs outside the house, on the wall. On the second floor kitchen, at the end of the line, all the fittings are in place to hook up a gas range, including a very large and heavy, old-school-looking Fisher regulator. In the basement, the line terminates into a disconnected flare fitting, and it's right next to the more recently installed, black iron 1-2-inch piping system. We want to use the upstairs kitchen again, so I set about putting a T in the basement to connect the long copper pipe to the natural gas piping. A lot of elbow grease, yellow Teflon tape and gas fittings later, the pipe is reconnected, everything is leak tested and okay, and I hook up the vintage Gurney gas range that was in the second floor kitchen to the system. To our delight, it lights up, but the flame is very, very low. I disconnected the flex hose to the stove and quickly turned on the gas valve, and indeed the sound of the gas coming out is much more faint than in the first floor kitchen, where everything works as it should. One last thing. I put the T in the basement piping just after the 2 PSIG Maxitrol regulator that regulates the first floor kitchen gas range. So my questions are as follow. 1. Should I have connected the T in the basement before the 2 PSIG regulator, and instead put a regulator at the very end of the long copper line, on the second floor? 2. Could running a 80 feet long line after a regulator cause low gas pressure at that end? 3. What else could cause low gas pressure in the pipe after a 80 feet run? I guess it is a possibility that the copper gas pipe is clogged somewhere along its length. Is that something that happens? I visually inspected the pipe along its whole length and it does not appear to be kinked anywhere. Any ideas? P.S. I've installed gas piping propane and natural in RVs and trailers in the past and never had a leak or a problem as I am very careful about everything. So please don't advise me to call a gas fitter first thing. I might get there, but for now it's very much in my range of skills. P.S. I'm in Canada, so copper piping is code a fake. Thanks everyone. Edit. I measured the pipe length and it's actually closer to 80 feet, with 690 degrees bends. Wow, much longer than I thought. Question from user cannot compute at Stack Exchange answer. Your 2 regulator is likely dropping the pressure down to about 1.4 psi, which is what most appliances need. By putting the T after the regulator and running a 80 feet line isn't going to be sufficient. Longer runs generally need larger piping. Your 1-2 inches line won't be able to keep up. You probably should have ran the 2 psi line i.e. a T before the regulator and installed a second regulator up there. Here in the United States, most houses are fed 1.4 psi after the meter, and if there is problems with piping or a need for large appliances, generally pressure can be increased to 2 psi. Since you have 1-2 gas piping, that might explain why you have 2 psi of gas. On my house, the line coming in is 114 answer from user Harry Glinos at Stack Exchange.